Brandon Hudgins was always a gifted runner. From his club days at the age of 10 to Northwestern High School to Winthrop University, he just seemed to keep getting faster. Until his junior season, when it all came to a crashing halt. He started experiencing breathing problems and knew something was seriously wrong. But it would take 7 months for doctors to figure out what was wrong.
I had been diagnosed with granulomatosis with polyangiitis, which was a form of vasculitis. I went home and Googled it and got through a couple of paragraphs on Wikipedia and was pretty much like, well, I don't really want to deal with this.
The disease affects less than 5 people per million, and without treatment has a 90% mortality rate within a year of diagnosis.
Believe it or not, about 3 or 4 months into being on chemotherapy and being on these large doses of drugs, I actually started to feel a little bit better finally, and I started jogging a little bit again.
He finished his degree at Winthrop and went to Appalachian State for grad school, where he not only returned to running, he returned to top form.
I won a few Southern Conference titles and it was better than ever.
He graduated and turned professional.
You're a year before the next Olympic cycle. My 1,500 meter time was about 2 seconds away from what was projected to qualify for the Olympic trial. So I was like, well, this has been everything I've dreamed of. We got to go for this, right?
But then his vasculitis that he thought was in remission returned.
I had my first panic attack. I gave up. I threw all my stuff in the trash. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's time to move on.
Hudgins went back to Boone, where he only had healthy, happy memories. Nearby, 2 of his best friends.
They knew I was struggling, but they wouldn't accept that out of me.
So one September morning, 6 months after Hudgins had quit, Cameron Bean and Chris Moen dragged him out on a run he would never forget. A jog turned into a 10-miler down his favorite trail in Boone.
It's like the fire was still there. It's never gone away. I've tried numerous times to do other things and move on, but that fire still like smolders.
Feeling alive again, Hudgins threw himself into training, his sights set on the runner's holy grail, posting a sub 4-minute mile.
After I'd run, 4:01 and 4:02, and so I had been close, and that was what was more maddening, was that I could never really get over that hump, and then every time I got kind of close, then something would happen with my health.
Finally, in 2015, at the Sir Walter Miler at NC State, he finished in 3 minutes, 59.67 seconds.
It was like a 2,000-pound gorilla got off my back.
It's become one of his most cherished memories, in part due to heartbreaking loss. Cameron, one of those friends who dragged him on that Boone run 2 years earlier, was killed 1 month later when he was struck by a car on a run. That meet was the last time Brandon Hudgins saw his best friend.
I miss him every day. He was one of my best friends, and he's one of the reasons I'm running again. And it's just, as we all are with all our friends, you're not done living your life with those people, right? Because they're an important part of your story.
And Brandon Hudgins' story continues. Right now, he's in training with his sights set on the Olympic trials in 2020. And this time, there doesn't seem to be anything that's going to slow him down.
Next week, we have more stories on local athletes like Pearson Cunningham, who is overcoming challenges and making a difference. Cunningham ranks 2nd in goals for the East Lincoln soccer team. He could tie the record as early as tomorrow, but his success hasn't come easy. One day in 1st grade, he got sick and found out he had bleeding in his brain.
I had to have surgery at midnight that night, and if they said that if I didn't have surgery, then I would probably die in the next 24 hours, so it had to be immediate.
Next week, Pearson's challenging road to recovery and how a unique bond with his teammates helped get him through a challenging time.